In India, some historical sites are so heavily steeped in local terror that the Archaeological Survey of India has to officially ban entry after dark. These restrictions apply to the shadowy pine forests of Dow Hill, the fortified stone gates of Shaniwar Wada, and the dark, light-absorbing sands of Dumas Beach. The legends connecting all of these places share a common architecture: dark magic, restless spirits, and sudden mass disappearances. Over centuries, these ghost stories have effectively overwritten the historical record of what actually happened to the people who once lived here. We are going to forensically deconstruct these sites to recover the specific events lost behind the folklore. Re-examining the evidence exposes a scale of human tragedy that supernatural tales often obscure. In Kuldara, folklore claims the Paliwal Brahmins cursed their own village and vanished in a single night to escape the atrocities of a local minister. The sheer scale of this completely intact but empty settlement makes the myth of a sudden mass disappearance appear plausible. This chart tracks Kuldara's documented population over time. Instead of a sudden vanishing, data reveals a multi-decade crash, from nearly 1,600 residents plummeting to 37 by 1890. Historical records clarify the catalysts. Plunging water tables coincided exactly with sudden, exploitative taxation hikes. The arid, unforgiving environment of the Thar Desert offered no safety net for a community suddenly deprived of both water and wealth. Archival evidence from the era captures the severity of these droughts, forcing survivors to manually bail whatever muddy water remained in the dried-out brick wells. The legend of a magical curse provided a narrative for a slow climate disaster and a desperate migration for survival. This pattern of distortion continues at sites associated with extreme violence, like Bangar Fort. Local lore claims a tantric curse destroyed the city, but the historical record shows it was decimated by a brutal, post-Aurangzeb Mughal warfare. At Shaniwar Wada, the architecture was engineered to repel that exact kind of military slaughter, creating a space that feels inherently imposing today. The main entrance is fortified with heavy steel spikes, positioned exactly at the forehead height of a charging battle elephant. The subterranean architecture of Agra Sen Ki Baoli in New Delhi uses scale and depth to manipulate the human senses. Descending the 108 steps into this 14th century stepwell creates a severe physical shift. The temperature plummets, the acoustics echo, and the water at the bottom sits in pitch darkness. As the physical body rapidly loses ambient heat and light in this descent, the human brain's primal fear responses are immediately triggered. This experience is often interpreted as a supernatural presence, but it is the direct result of brilliant, claustrophobic historical engineering. Sites like Dumas Beach and Dow Hill generate their reputations through a concentration of historical death, rather than architectural design. The black sands of Dumas Beach combine naturally high geological iron content with ash from its history as a Hindu cremation ground. Similarly, Dow Hill in Kursong was established as an isolated 19th century British colonial settlement. The dense pine forests contain forgotten, unmarked graves from colonial-era tragedies, creating an atmosphere of dread that persists in the local imagination. Focal points for mass death naturally accumulate deep cultural grief, which eventually translates into ghost stories. Ecological collapse, brutal warfare, and societal tragedy have left a lasting impact on these ruins. These legends serve a function beyond simple superstition or tourism. For populations that lacked official written histories, a curse or a myth acted as a vital oral time capsule, preserving the memory of a catastrophic loss. When a village dies of thirst or an empire falls to war, the scale of the trauma causes the history to morph into myth. A ghost story is a human coping mechanism for making sense of massive, uncontrollable loss. Stripping away the nighttime aesthetics reveals the factual reality of these locations. We should listen to these ghost stories not to find spirits, but to recover the buried history of the people who inhabited these ruins. Beneath the black sand and the ruined stones lies the factual resilience of the human beings who actually lived there.